All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bitcoin Law Review with your host, Vays, and the lawyers that you have probably not seen on the show in quite a while, but we finally got together here in Miami. There's a conference going on, which of course we're not at, but we have had some really good chats. There's so much has been going on. We haven't done a show in a long time. Hope the audio is good. Hope the video is good. We're not going to be doing much screen share because this is more of a last-minute show. And but we're going to talk about some awesome developments in the legal cases from Ripple to Wright to the MiamiCoin. Since we are in Miami, just need confirmation that the audio is fine. I'm just using the speaker of the webcam, which is a bit far from us, so I could probably pull it in a bit. And let's welcome our panelists. Of course, you've all been on the show before. We're going to do quick intros. We're going to start right here with the lovely Sasha from my left. Adela is right behind me. And
tell me when to stop. I'm going to bring it in, bring it in, bring it in.
Good.
Right there?
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
All right. We are now set. So Sasha, give us a very brief intro. What have you been up to in the 6 months we have not done the show?
Hi everyone, nice to be back on the Bitcoin Law Review. I just started my own firm actually today.
On a law firm, it's an awesome logo. The O in Hotter is of course the Bitcoin logo. I was looking at the logo yesterday.
And what has transpired today, I'm going to be doing some counsel with the Silver Miller firm. So looking forward to that.
There goes your
there goes all
credibility. There goes all integrity, credibility.
I mean, when you work with David, it's the end of your career.
Until he sues you.
Until he sues you.
It's amazing to hang out with friends. See what happens when people don't like things.
All right, we're going to go over to Adela.
My name's Adela, aka Adele, aka Bitcoin Community. Last 6 months, I've been living on an island. Jason and I have started consultancy on island. Awesome, doing a lot of Caribbean, regional, and Latin American work. Your favorite cypherpunk, right? So that's about it. Excited to be in Miami and do another Bitcoin Law Review.
I'm Jason Seibert, also known as That Guy. For the last 6 months, let's see, racing cars, writing legal opinions.
We gotta speak up because the microphone is the camera.
Oh, very good. For the last 6 months, I've been racing cars, writing legal opinions on whether or not coins are securities or not, forming a consultancy with Adela, and Wright, being lead counsel in a Bitcoin case in Washington State, defending whether or not Bitcoin is fungible for the purposes of tracing for subsequent purchasers that end up 7 hops down the line buying tainted coin, and whether or not that coin can be attached to the alleged original criminal activity. So that's been a really interesting case that I've been working on and enjoying, fighting once again at the bleeding edge of law and Bitcoin, which has kept me busy. So, yeah.
That makes me David Silver Miller, the original crypto advocate.
Bullshit.
The original crypto advocate.
Yes.
How did Jason and I meet? He was representing the bad guys. I was representing the victims. Trending Shavers, wherever you are, you still owe me $12 million. Plus.
You did not just do that.
Of course I did. So there goes the original crypto advocate. We're doing more of the same. Silver Miller is still, I guess the last 6 months have mostly been about SIM swaps. Everyone in crypto.
I've been SIM swapped.
Everyone in crypto, I've been SIM swapped. Anyone with money in crypto has been SIM swapped. The last 6 months I've represented and am currently representing over 300 people who lost over $50 million in crypto at today's valuation.
If you were being SIM swapped.
So you've been SIM swapped.
I was just talking to someone the other day that got SIM swapped for like 2 or 3 million. Actually, from our call earlier today, JP got SIM swapped and naked extra.
There you go.
Wow.
So ultimately, the law changed on SIM swapping recently, so hopefully there will be a lot less SIM swaps. But Silver Miller is still just representing investors in crypto where things go awry. And the last couple of lawsuits, we've got some big ones coming out in the first quarter of 2022 that I think is going to be a game changer, and some of that's going to be discussed today.
Outstanding. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out is that the last time most of us were in the same room together was at Unconfiscatable in Las Vegas,
Yes.
right at the beginning of the COVID lockdown. And Tone, Unconfiscatable is coming up again. Isn't
It is. Yep. I guess it's time for a little bit of screen share real quick. All these guys' information is actually in the video description. And by the way, when you go to Unconfiscatable, we do have this little video playing, and guess whose face is about to come on?
David's.
In a second.
That's Jimmy.
Jimmy.
That's Jimmy.
Yeah.
There's Tone.
Then we got some
Are you happy
cards.
getting knocked out of the poker tournament?
Oh, you're gonna play again. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. We got a few of you guys.
The suspense is
I
killing
wish I
me.
could speed this up.
Stacy. Love Stacy.
I mean, what are we doing?
No, this is great. Great. This is great.
Yeah, so
Hey!
there you go. That was the-
There's
And there's
There we
Jay.
go.
That's so much
All
fun.
right, so I think everyone on this couch is going to be back at Unconfiscatable. All right, so all their info is in the video description, and we're going to jump right in to the case that is like literally, if I had any hair, I would definitely pull it out. This is, of course, the update on the Ripple versus the SEC. And my non-legal professional opinion is the SEC is royally screwed here.
Which is a cool like circle for you, Tony.
Which
We
is-
talked about this before.
Which is in a way good and in a way bad. And so as much as I hate Ripple, I hate the SEC almost as much as I hate Ripple. But to me, the outcome is if the SEC can't actually do anything to Ripple, it literally opens the door to the world of 1 billion coins. No one is going to respect the SEC. They need to find a way to win this case. Otherwise, it's a complete disaster for the U.S. international arm of law. But these guys are a little more professional about it. So who wants to give the update on what's going on? And then you guys can talk about your views and opinions.
So Tone, I first started talking about this at the last year when the Miami Bitcoin conference was going on, but I didn't go to that conference. I went to the Shitcoin conference.
I was there too. I can't believe I missed your
It
panel.
was so good.
Right,
It was so good.
and so when we talked about
Hold on, when Jason almost got into a brawl at the shitcoin.
almost got those roll,
And so did I on a panel earlier debating shitcoin. So we weren't speakers at Bitcoin 2021.
Whoa,
We're not.
whoa.
Some
Hold on. Some of us are more, some of us dislike people here smoking both.
Some of us are not Bitcoiny enough to speak at Bitcoin 2021. So we were speakers at Shitcoin 2021.
which was happening at the same time.
At the same time, a few blocks away, and I'm already a speaker at Shitcoin 2022, and I am not yet a speaker at Bitcoin 2022.
Right, so I haven't been invited back to Shitcoin, so, but I think, I mean.
No, you have been invited.
I have been?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my
Yeah.
people didn't tell me that.
Oh,
Now,
my
here's the thing. So I first brought up the unique defense that Ripple is raising against the SEC, which is the fair warning defense. And what Ripple is saying is, SEC, through your lack of regulation, through your lack of enforcement, through the multiple years that we have come through and asked you if we're a security or not, for the multiple times that exchanges around the world have listed the Ripple asset, you have waived your right to enforce against us because you didn't give us notice that you were going to enforce against us. Now, my legal belief or my fortune teller card says, regardless of what happens at the circuit court level, the United States Supreme Court is not going to latch on to Ripple's defense. But what's unique about this is that I'm pretty sure at the district court level, Ripple might win. And the reason they're winning is that Ripple came to the table and said, we've got $1 billion worth of assets we can throw at our legal team, and realize they have more resources and better lawyers than the SEC has.
Well, they have
to bring to bear.
Former SEC directors.
Right. And so what they've done is they've flipped it, and instead of being, you know, the defendants in this case, they've gone after and they've attacked the SEC and saying, not only are we not going to subscribe to your interpretation, but we want to know all of the assets that the SEC employees have. We want to know all the crypto they have. And the judge agreed.
And what is your policy
And
on
what is
your employees holding Ripple?
Right.
Well, that was going to be mine, because remember when Token Pay sent me a cease and desist letter?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to actually go after Token Pay and make them disclose their Litecoin relationship and
That's
find
right.
out exactly how much Litecoin Charlie Lee's holding, because I would have went after him, right? If the Token Pay would have went after me, because they're in business to buy that bank.
Right. So the next thing that happened, the thing that happened within the last week, and Sasha, you and I were just talking about it, this amazing ruling by the judge ordered the SEC to reveal what?
Hinman's relationship with the Ethereum Foundation, basically, or they're attacking his initial, statements or speech that Ethereum wasn't a security. So they're looking into that.
So let me, it's a little bit different than that. First of all, Tony literally said to me about a week ago when we were talking about getting together, how he was going to use this forum to say, oh my God, David Silver was completely wrong. And everybody else, let me be clear here, these guys are all still wrong. We're in the second inning of a baseball game, and we're far from over. But what was interesting and
but this is what he was wrong. So David Silver promised a few years ago that the SEC is going to come down hard on these ICOs and all this garbage from 2017. And as far as I know, the only one that they really went after is Reggie. For God knows what reason. Yeah, right, exactly. For God knows what reason.
One project.
The project that was legitimate.
Right. And also the multi-project. I was thinking about the multi-project,
So as the only person here who believes in government regulation and government overreach, and government overreach.
I don't believe in government overreach.
And believes in government overreach.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but let's talk about, because we are doing the law review show. What actually happened last week was Hinman gave a speech, I want to say like 2017, 2018.
May I? Director Hinman of the SEC, in response to the Ethereum DAO fork, and the DAO where $70 to $80 million were stolen out of that, the SEC finally spoke and issued their famous DAO report, and Director Hinman gave a speech on his interpretation of the DAO and how Ethereum had somehow transmogrified from an investment contract to not a security.
Right.
And the published issue of it is when Howie met Gary Plastic, and I think
Yep, I have June 2018.
So in June 2018, Director Hinman gives this speech where it says, Ethereum as it stands today is not a security.
because they've become so decentralized
Right.
that they could not pass the Howie test.
Now, the problem here is, and this is going to be the problem Ripple faces, and where I am still correct and everyone else is still wrong, is going to be Ripple when it came out versus what Ripple is today. And ultimately, the government wins these cases 99% of the time. So we need to say for Ripple to win at the end, not win and bludgeon the SEC, because the SEC is going to win this battle, but they're going to win it ugly. It's not the slam dunk a lot of us were expecting. The Ripple Foundation came out throwing punches. And I respect what they've done, but when you throw punches, people throw punches back. And we're in the very beginning. So what Director Hinman did, and what the judge ruled last week, is that the SEC has to turn over the draft version
All the drafts.
of the versions of the speech Director Hinman gave, because Director Hinman, because he published the speech beforehand, got approval to give the speech and say what he said. And now Ripple wants to see what the SEC's decided was appropriate and was not appropriate, and how the draft verbiage of that language morphed into what the final speech was. And we're
That's amazing.
and
This is huge.
that's amazing, because now we can get to see some of the insights of what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
But what applies from that speech is the carve out. And the carve out for Ethereum was the Ethereum sale. By the way, statute of limitations not over on that.
They did carve it out. They said that the initial ICO, right? The original contract was give us your money, and in the future we're going to give you a token, which then got turned into the SAFT agreement, which was the sale for future token.
Don't get me started on SAPs.
They're absolutely investment contracts. Director Hinman refused to give comment or opinion on whether or not the SAFT or the initial sale was a security. What Director Hinman said that Ethereum as Ethereum today is not a security.
And
they
what makes
carved
this-
that out.
And what's really
Two different
important here,
transactions,
and
two
what's
different
really
ones.
important here is the initial money-making experience for Ripple is very different than when you were buying or selling Ripple on Coinbase,
Yes,
Kraken,
yes, yes.
Poloniex, Bittrex. So we have to remove those two different ideas.
Yes.
What did Ripple start as versus what Ripple became? And that's going to be what I believe is going to be the SEC's counterpunch to all of this is they don't care about Ripple, the XRP token that was traded on all those exchanges. They're not going to fight back those people. What they're going to do is focus on what it started as. And I think Tone and I agree, what it started as when it was first released was different than what it became.
Let me ask you a question. So what it started as, what does that mean? What it started as in the SEC's eyes, or wait, or what it started as the investor, maybe the purchaser? Because I bought ETH during the crowd sale. Remember Talent was TNUC, right, standing up. Yeah. I bought some.
And we all commented that.
Said
Vitalik
differently,
really
Adela has a
needed
lot of money because she bought ETH.
Oh my God, I have no money. No, I
She
have
just
no
told
money.
you she bought ETH at the
I have
beginning.
no
If
money. I
anybody
take
from
their
the
class.
IRS is watching, Adela doesn't
I
have
have
any
no
money.
money. We just spent a month with us on the island. We
In
have
her
no.
own private house with her own private maid.
I can't. I have no money. I have no money. So,
I think every three-letter agency watches, so.
So back to the initial.
I'm not done.
I made fun of her.
What
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying is, what
I'm
you were
not
talking
done.
about was the initial implementation or release of Ripple compared to the initial release of Ethereum. That's what we're comparing.
Yeah, yes, that is what we're comparing.
Yes.
So I had a very nice conversation with Vitalik. He explained to me how.
Who
Ethereum
still
works.
needs to eat a sandwich.
I'm not gonna confirm or deny how to feel about that. And I bought ETH. I bought ETH. I got the JSON file. At no point during that process did I ever think that I was going to make like sick gains or mad gains from that initial purchase, right? I
Of
just
Ripple?
thought, no.
Keep
up, Jason.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm distracted by the dog.
Right, so does it matter what the initial investor thought that they were doing or not? Because I mean, I think this is a really important issue in this matter.
Yeah, geez, for all those watching, this is Smudge. Smudge is a Belgian Malinois, and soon to be released in honor of Smudge is going to be the MiamiCoin,
MiamiCoin.
where you can expect to lose all of your money. There is no expectation of profit at all in the release of MiamiCoin.
Because we need another dog coin so much.
We do.
He's already growling. You heard what I said.
Respect, mother.
Oh,
She's got, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to the Ripple and
Jason,
Ethereum.
can I mention one thing?
Please.
So this morning we were talking about the aiding and abetting and that.
Yes,
got thrown into
yes,
the
under
Ripple
10b5, yes.
what is
Maybe
this?
you can elaborate on that.
Aiding and abetting under 10b5.
In the Ripple case?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this generically. All right, so the Kim Kardashians of the world,
Oh,
Floyd
oh,
Mayweathers of the
we should talk
world,
about that.
right?
Promoters.
People that promote the
Yeah.
sale of a token, they may not have direct liability from an investor, but one case that David knows about and other securities knows about is the Motorola and Scientific Atlanta case, where the Supreme Court came out and said very definitively that aider and abettor liability under 10b-5 is not a private right of action, that the SEC and the SEC only has the authority to bring aider and abettor liability claims under 10b-5.
So one of Jason's biggest problems, and we've missed this over the last 6 months, is sometimes he gets into the weeds. Why don't you explain this in a way people can understand, such as Kim Kardashian promoting a coin? What does that mean under 10b-5? Explain it to people how they will actually understand it.
Okay, so
Wait,
when
wait, can I ask a question?
Oh, real quick, hey,
So if
not
David-
red shoes, Bitcoin socks, they just happen to be red.
and you can find the Bitcoin Red Sox on Tone's affiliate page, where he gives us a portion of every sale of his socks. Are you seriously shilling socks
No,
right now?
someone's being funny for red shoes.
They're the red cowboy boots from How I Met Your Mother.
You want to take a second to tell them about how you shill watches too?
Someone asked you about the watch. Anyway, hey,
On the next episode of Crypto Scam, Tone Vays was arrested for shilling watches.
Also,
Under a
under the internet. So
The internet,
before I
use the
forget,
Kim Kardashian.
before I forget, before we go to the internet. So while Hinman was giving that speech that Ethereum is officially decentralized, the current head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, is teaching at MIT how Ethereum is a security. Okay, can we
Wait, how do you know?
It
I
was
saw the video.
published, yeah, it's.
Oh.
his
There's a
whole
video.
class
There's a
was-
video.
Gensler gives a video
Yes.
after the speech.
Yeah.
It's a
And
video of him teaching at MIT. Well, like what is a crypto security? And he's only using Ethereum as an example as to why it's a security. They're happening around the same time, 2018, 2019.
Don't forget about at the time, Republican administration, Democratic
Yeah.
administration. So, and politics always plays in because the statute of limitations is actually coming up on all these things. When the government can bring a claim, especially for the ICOs, I personally am heavily invested in ICO litigation. I will be very disappointed if the SEC does nothing.
I really think Gensler is going to go after Ethereum.
I think Democrats tend to be, Democrats and the Democratic administration, they're going to try and limit what crypto can do. And Gensler is under marching orders from President Biden and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party that they are going to do something. Now, I used to think it was going to be, I've said it publicly, I used to think Tezos was going to be the poster child of an ICO. Now, the statute of limitations are quickly running out on that, and Tezos seems to escape.
So here's my view on it.
Hold on, you're saying Tone, no audio.
What?
Oh, shit.
No audio. No, there's audio.
Huh.
No, there's audio. Audio, no, it's.
Hey, what if you
your
change-
problem.
Quite
Try
terrible.
changing.
No, there's audio. No, it's
Tone.
No, he's wrong.
Try changing the audio to the microphone array of the laptop and see if that gives them.
It's
better
not going to be
audio
better.
than
It's not going to be
the
better.
mic.
No, audio's fine. It's one.
Okay, sorry.
Audio's fine. Okay. So here's my view on it. I don't want to bring politics into this, but guys like
Politics 100% control the SEC.
guys like Vitalik, got people that run crypto.com, which was packed today. The crypto.com guys, Sam Bankman-Fried, they're all Democrats and socialists, and they're
So
giving money to the Democratic Party.
Fried gave, disclosed, like some of the, I believe he was doing the top 5 largest donors to Democrats.
Because he knows that they're running a, well, let me not say that word scam, but like they're funding the Democratic Party, and I think that's going to help them a lot, not for the Democratic Party not to send their goons after them.
Well, I think there's a difference in those two things. What they're paying for, and when you pay
You're not a
politicians, they are going to say crypto.com is a legitimate business entity.
Which is, I don't believe that it is.
And they want crypto.com to be able to sell these things legitimately. So crypto.com, you can buy a lot of the altcoins right now. You can buy a lot of altcoins on Bittrex. You can buy a lot of altcoins on Coinbase. So what they're looking for with Gensler is to come out against the people who don't register and disclose.
Right.
And personally, I think that'll be a huge win for crypto investors. Main Street investors who, when we started this show, years ago, and Bitcoin was trading at 1,000, 5,000.
Right.
This is now, for people who want Bitcoin to go to 500,000, 1 million, you need mainstream adoption. And what people like Wright are doing and Crypto.com and the Winklevoss twins, they want structure and they need structure. And I think that's what we're looking for. And I think that's what the SEC, with rolling this back to Ripple. Ripple is saying, we asked you for that structure. We asked you to tell us if we were doing something wrong. You chose not to tell us. It's wrong to come back to us 5 years later.
And that's the fair warning, fair notice argument.
And that is a great argument in innings 1, 2, and 3 of the ball.
So Jason and I had this really great conversation this morning where, he was talking about the slaves and the masters.
Right, there's two different sets of rules.
No.
So I was explaining from the show Yellowstone that there was a conversation about trying to win a battle, and that the government makes rules, and there was a quote in the show Yellowstone from one of the tribal attorneys that said, you can play by the master's rules or you can play by the slave's rules. And you're trying to play by the slave's rules and win, and you're never going to do that. You have to win by playing by the master's rules. And while Ripple or other entities that have kowtowed to the SEC in the past have tried to be reasonable in the SEC, it doesn't matter, we're the SEC, we're going to win. Has come back with their team and said, we're going to play by the master's rules to try to win. We're going to play by your rules.
I'll just follow like that.
Ultimately,
Okay.
the SEC's job is to protect investors. What is the protection at this point of crippling Ripple?
Yeah.
It's only going to hurt the people that have already purchased
What about all
it.
people that, believe me, I think
Ripple is a total shitcoin, 100%. But I mean, at this point, they hire a ton of people. Are they making the world worse?
Well, I think
By
that's
being around.
not a legal argument. The legal argument
I
here is
know, but legal
structure moving forward.
Legal policies stem from real world shit.
Hold on,
Okay.
let me talk on that. So what the SEC has done historically is they do adjudicatory rulemaking, and that's a legal phrase. They take issues to the court and get a judge or jury to rule on an issue in order to announce or create rules that other people need to live by, as opposed to other administrative agencies that have to go and get legislators to create laws that they can enforce or do proper administrative rulemaking through notice of comment and opportunity to be heard. But the SEC has been given carte blanche by the Supreme Court and other courts that say that the only way that the SEC can keep up with the scams and the fraud that exists on the planet is to have broad discretion, to have authority over these things. So if the SEC is now trying to say through adjudicatory rulemaking by going after Ripple, these types of activities are not okay, the end result is instead of having proper rulemaking and administrative authority, they run to the courts and they get the courts to say, yes, you can have the authority that you just implemented that you didn't have the authority to have, but we are now going to, retroactively say that that's okay. And that's what the SEC has done. And that was the argument I made in the Shavers case when they were saying that money and Bitcoin were going to be the same thing for Howie. And I said, no, you need to go do rulemaking. This is inappropriate adjudicatory rulemaking, but the SEC was given deference to be able to do that. And ergo, Bitcoin is money as a result of that.
So we do have to move on. We have a bunch of other stories, but real quick, let's say, what are the outcomes? I know you're saying that if Ripple might win in the lower court, SEC is going to win ultimately, Supreme Court. Let's say, what happens if Ripple wins ultimately, and what happens if the SEC wins ultimately? What are the outcomes? Because if the SEC wins and Ripple is a security, it has to get delisted from all these unregulated exchanges, and Ripple becomes a security, so it could only be traded like the New York Stock Exchange.
Wait. Unregulated exchanges don't follow the law. So let's parse out what Ripple winning or losing impacts is how the legal exchanges, and by legal in the United States, I'm going to say Gemini, Kraken, Coinbase,
Well, they already dropped Ripple.
But now, if Ripple wins, they'll go back.
They suspended trading.
Yes.
People's accounts at Coinbase and all the other US exchanges, they still have their Ripple in their accounts. If they left it there,
And
what
you
they've
can
done is
still- you can
suspended
still
trading.
You can still buy.
No, you can't.
No, not in US exchanges.
100%.
Not on Coin, not on Coinbase, Kraken.
No, you should be able to buy it.
I'm pretty sure you can't buy any on any of them.
I'm pretty sure.
I know. I can only speak for Coin.
Somebody could be wrong, but-
Hold on.
I can speak for
Sasha?
Coinbase.
Sasha, have you been able to buy Ripple on a US exchange?
I haven't tried.
She hasn't tried.
And for people who want to know whether I'm a good investor and you should follow me for investment advice, I sold all of my Ripple because I had some from a case the day the lawsuit was announced at like 30.
Get paid in shitcoin.
Like I get paid in shitcoins all the time for like 30 cents. For like 30 cents, I'm guessing it's trading at a lot more than that today. 78 cents. I lost the double on that one. So my legal opinions are not financial advice because I still believe that that Ripple is going to lose, but they're going to lose in a fashion that allows them to continue. And I think that's Tones' question. What is the, and Adela thinks I'm wrong.
No, I think David's wrong
And I'm-
because
and I'm
they're
frustrated.
two matters.
They also want to go IPO. They want to double dip on creating a tradable token.
No, they're totally scamming. That's like not even a question.
But take out the scamming aspect of it. Let's assume for a minute that their defense is legitimate. We created this. Well, I want to say when they created it because I want to take this in two parts, just like the Ethereum. I'm carving out initial Ripple when it first came out because that token, they have all the inside emails and everyone discussing. They knew what they were doing was wrong. And ultimately, I think what is going to come out, there's going to be a bifurcated decision. They're going to punish the foundation with some type of settlement agreement where they come in and pay 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars. That's wildly insignificant to Ripple. It's going to sound like a lot of money, but it's wildly insignificant. The EOS is a perfect example. And Tezos, I would still say is going to have the same thing. They're going to pay a fine that is insignificant to them. So what's going to end up happening is they will be able to IPO at that point. Notice not an ICO, an IPO, and legitimize it because they're going to win in that aspect.
IPO something else, so they want to convert the Ripple token into IPO.
Exactly.
Let me speak
They
on something
can't.
else.
They can't convert the Ripple token into an IPO because they just spent the last 3 years disassociating from the Ripple token. It's like they literally tried to have a campaign that the Ripple Labs did not create XRP.
Yeah.
That was literally their campaign. Like, who's dumb enough to believe that shit? SEC? No?
Apparently, some of your viewers that are saying that Ripple and XRP are different.
Right.
And I'm sitting here going, shut the, are you kidding me right now? So one of the things that I want to talk about that I think a lot of people have missed, and I talked about it last year, and we haven't talked for a while, but the impact of SEC v. Lou and how that impacts the way that the SEC makes decisions on enforcement is huge. When the SEC first started going after Ripple, they imagined $1 billion in disgorgement. They imagined that the SEC was now going to get their hands on $1 billion. And what the SEC used to do is they take that $1 billion disgorgement when they get the money and they put it in their own treasury account.
Yeah, then no one ever gets it back. Yeah.
And they admitted it to the Supreme Court in the case of SEC v. Lou that they take disgorged investor money and they hold on to it themselves and they don't give it back to the investors. In the Supreme Court, in a monumental 8-1 decision, which may as well be unanimous, and that never happened. And it was Justice
You wrote a really nice article on this.
I did.
Yeah. Is it on your site
Who
still?
defected? Was it Scalia?
No, Scalia was dead.
He
This
was
was the
already
separate.
dead.
Anyway,
Yeah, he did die.
Yeah.
the point that was made was that disgorgement, which the SEC loves to use as a bounty hunting option, right? They go after these big projects because there's more money in them, because they could basically pad their budgets with it. Now, the Supreme Court has said that any disgorged funds have to be returned to the investors. You can't bank it at all, as it should be,
But
because
they're of age now,
disgorgement,
right? They're not 12 anymore.
but because disgorgement is an equitable remedy. So now when the SEC tries to dedicate its 5 attorneys that it has to assign to a trial at any point in time, what strategy are they going to use in order to, go after these various cases? Do they start going after the $1 million ICO scams that happened in 2017 instead of the larger ones, right? What ends up happening from an enforcement standpoint now that there's no big payday for the SEC? David, what do you think?
I think he threw out so many words there that everyone listening to this doesn't
He
understand.
loves
Disgorgement,
too many
SEC versus Lou. Ultimately, this
disgorgement
comes down,
investors.
what he's talking in his most simplest terms is this. The SEC lost one of their remedies where they can take back money from people. And it was a very good remedy and very helpful.
No, they can still take it
they-
back.
they
They just can't put it in their pocket.
They just can't hold the funds. They have to show direct loss to get the money back and give it back to each individual investor. So, but that was a very powerful tool the SEC had. So ultimately, and I think I'm going to try wrapping up the Ripple conversation, and we're each going to get one line. I am going to vote Ripple still loses, settles the case, and this will never see the Supreme Court.
My prediction, and by the way, when we talked about this last year at the Shitcoin conference, my prediction was that it's a fantastic argument. It's a beautiful strategy. Ultimately, they lose. Now, I originally thought ultimately they lose at the district court level, but I think they may actually win at the district court level, but ultimately lose on appeal.
I think that there are two matters here. And at the end of the day, the SEC always loses. There's what's happening in the government courts and there's what's happening in the court of public opinion. And Ripple is winning in the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
And they have already won to the point where the confidence in the SEC is so much eroded that at the end of the day, right, the confidence in the authority of the SEC will be so eroded that people will start going after them and, you know, challenging in a manner we just haven't seen before. So at the end of the day, Ripple's won as far as I'm concerned. If it gets to the Supreme Court, nobody's going to give a shit. How about that?
So this is where Adele and I wildly disagree. Adela just made a David Silver Twitter argument. And what the David Silver Twitter argument is, what is relevant to people on my Twitter feed and Tones's Twitter feed is not what's relevant in the real court of public opinion. It's a very small universe that what Adela said, I completely agree with. In the world that we run in, and the people who listen to us, and the people who follow the crypto world, they
Nobody
in the court
listens
of
to
the crypto in court of public opinion. Now, in the real world, which is what's going to be, and what some people refer to as Web 3.0, and in taking the structure in what's going to come in the future, I don't think to those people in the court of public opinion, the SEC looks bad. They don't care about the Hinman speech. They don't care. They only care about ultimately what gets decided. Most of the SEC is still enforced by judgment, meaning that when the SEC goes after someone and the person settles and they pay some amount of money, that they say the SEC then comes and says, well, this person paid it. So in the EOS, for instance, when they paid, it sounded like a lot of money. What was the actual number? $20-30 million?
Or 25 million or something.
So in between 20 and 30, I was pretty good on that, $25 million. The SEC is taking that as a victory lap. And to the average person in the United States, $25 million sounds like a lot.
But to EOS, it was like 1.3% of their rates.
But now we're talking about people with knowledge versus the court of public opinion.
I'm still right.
And she's poor. All right, Sasha, last thought.
Okay, I'll give my Ripple prediction. So I think whatever happens in the case isn't really going to matter because, as David mentioned, Web3 is coming and a lot of people have gone offshore from the US and those places will still be able to list Ripple whether it wins or loses in this case. And then I think there's also an interesting dynamic coming with the infrastructure bill where certain exchanges there might be some kind of quasi category created for these tokens that are in America and are, pretty major coins, like the top, 50 on coin market cap might have to get some quasi, they're not securities, they're not securities, they're something, and there's some kind of regulation that might make sense for them. And the exchanges that are, doing their best to follow whatever guidance there is are going to have to come up with some regime to hold those. That's where I think it's
just to be
going.
clear, there is multiple different definitions or designations by different organizations within the government as to what convertible virtual currency is, right? So to the IRS, they treat it as property. To the CFTC, they treat it as a commodity. To the SEC, they treat it as a security. And all of these things need to be examined in the moment of, to this agency for this type of use, it is defined as this. And what would be nice, maybe someday, they actually do some proper rulemaking on it to give some clarity on how they are actually going to treat it, not issue a bulletin, not issue an action letter, but actually do an in-depth analysis on how it's going to work and how they're going to do it, instead of running to the courts and says, please judge, may I? And I think that would be the right.
All right, we do have to move on to the next story. I will just say, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but if Ripple wins and neuters the SEC, one of these lawyers is going to help create a tone token to raise money for a project to be thought about later on after the money comes in, because that's the precedent that it would set, in my view.
There are a lot of ICOs from 2017 forward that did just that. Yeah. By the way, we're going to do something. We're not going to tell you what it is, but we're going to do it.
That's going to be told if the SEC screws this up.
And here's why I don't buy that Ripple wasn't on notice, right? Because the type of activity that they had and the type of activity that these ICOs were to the securities enforcement, plaintiff and defense work and regulatory actions, those are called blank check investments. And we know how to handle blank check investments, don't you think?
I think they did their whole, permission versus forgiveness analysis. Because this is not their first rodeo. Remember, they were fined by FinCEN back in 2013. Yes. Everybody forgets about this. But I think at that point, they had become so successful that they knew that if something came up, that they were going to be able to deal with it. Yeah. And that's what happened.
What's next, Tom?
All right. So our next story, and I will go back to full view on camera, is the ruling right here in the city of Miami of Craig Wright versus Kleiman, the Kleiman case. We're not going to talk about the case itself. Some of the lawyers here in Miami probably know a little too much about it, but we can talk about the decision. Now, I will just say about this. So the moment that decision was announced, the BSV and Craig Wright and Calvin Ayers publication, CoinGeek, immediately wrote an article how Craig Wright won the case, and it validates the fact that he's Satoshi, when in reality, it was the complete opposite. So CoinGeek write an article, the opposite of what actually happened, and they wrote it so quickly after the announcement of the decision, the whole world ran with that opposite view. So it became like a giant mess. Okay, so let's talk about what actually happened and how Craig Wright lost and not won in that court. Who wants to start?
David.
Well, let's just talk about this for a second. When has it ever happened where someone got $100 million judgment against them and walked out claiming to be the winner? So I mean, to me, that was the most amazing aspect of that.
Welcome to crypto, David.
I mean, it's insane. It's insanity.
Welcome to crypto.
I get that they were asking for a lot. I get that they were asking for a lot more money, but 100 million is not nominal damages. And nominal damages mean normally, like when the NFL did a lawsuit against the NFL Players Association once sued the NFL, and they went like through a 5-year trial, a 5-year lawsuit, and it was like a 5-month trial. And at the end of the day, the jury awarded the NFL players $1. That's a nominal. That means that yes, the NFL technically the players won, but they won $1. So there was no real winner.
That's impact litigation. Right?
Impact litigation. Here, this was private litigation between Craig Wright was sued by the brother of David Kleiman, who the estate, because Miss David Kleiman unfortunately passed away years before. The argument was that David Kleiman and Craig Wright together through a company whose name I'm blanking on, like WSK or something.
I thought it was oh man.
It was like WK something partners, that this partnership, they never actually made the claim that
it was like a combination of Wright and Kleiman.
Yeah, right? So it was like WNK, WK. But the essential argument was that they held a lot of Bitcoin and they had a partnership, and all of the Bitcoin that was originally mined belonged to the estate, and that Craig Wright never paid. And it's oversimplifying it. And what the court came out to was that there was a certain amount of Bitcoin in that partnership which Kleiman had a right to, and his estate was entitled to 50% of that. Now, during the trial, Craig Wright said that he no longer had access to that Bitcoin. So at trial, what Craig Wright said was, even if the partnership was supposed to be holding that Bitcoin is gone. So this litigation is not over. There's going to be a lot more litigation because of this litigation. As a contingency fee lawyer, I tell my clients all the time, don't tell me how you were victimized and that you're the victim and that the bad guys stole your money and they should be held liable. Everyone I speak to is a victim, and everyone I speak to, the bad guys are liable. Collectability is the key issue here. And what Craig Wright testified to is that, yes, even if the partnership had these assets, the assets are gone. So the 100 million relates to those assets. And that's all the court decided, that in that partnership, if those crypto existed, that the estate is entitled to half of them. It's going to be interesting now to see what happens next. So yes, the estate, in my view, won the case. They presented a trial that they asked for a lot more money. And that even if Craig Wright, who has said he's worth more than most island states, has the money to pay, it's the partnership who owes the money. And by the way, the partnership owes the money 50% to Kleiman, 50% to Craig Wright. So I'm still not even sure the $100 million number is real, but let's assume the $100 million number is real. Collecting on that 100 million is really the important part. There was no declaration that Craig Wright is Satoshi. There was no declaration that everything that Kleiman said was true or that Wright said was true. And I'm on record. I say this all the time. Even if Craig Wright is not Satoshi, he is patient number 2, 3, 4, or 5. He was there from the beginning. He was part of it. And I always said, I never understood why he wants to be deemed Satoshi. He should have just said, I saw the future that came about, and I've made so much money doing this. And he could be so much happier. But this lawsuit did nothing for anybody until someone gets paid. And I look forward to seeing who gets paid. And
I personally don't believe Craig Wright has much money. That's my opinion. That Craig Wright.
I say this to my kids all the time. How much is not much money? Does he have more than $10 million?
Maybe.
I think he's got more than 100 million.
I think he's got less than 5 million.
So this is where you and I would disagree. I would believe, because he's patient, just as BSV.
I personally think Calvin
I need you to define your definition of money.
US dollar equivalent 5 million.
Okay, so
you're saying he has fiat or he has Bitcoin, and are you differentiating between Bitcoin and fiat here? I don't think he has much. I don't think he has much money. Okay, well, I mean, some people
in
say
US
that
denominated terms. I don't care if it's Bitcoin or
of
dollars.
total
So
assets.
we're all talking the same
Or
thing.
BSV. Doesn't matter,
We're
right?
saying any
Yeah,
crypto
well, we're
universe.
denominating in dollars, right? Like,
Yes.
like I think he has less. Personally, I think Craig Calvin Air is financially backed because he has billion.
Okay, but I agree with that. But at this point, I believe Craig Wright has a lot of money. Now I'm going to define a lot of his money as more than 50 million. So
Yeah, I'm on the other side of that.
I base this on no facts whatsoever. I have no knowledge. Yeah, we're just talking about whether we think a guy has money. I think he has a lot of money because, again, I think he accumulated, even when it was Bitcoin was at 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. I think he has a lot of BSV. I think the BSV has value overseas.
It's trending towards zero. But okay.
What's it at today?
$80 maybe.
Doesn't matter. So I think one of the key components from the Kleiman Wright case was the jury determination that the intellectual property between Wright and Kleiman was co-shared, and that the $100 million award was the payment for the use of the intellectual property to the Kleiman estate. That was my understanding of it.
It's trading at $109.
Right. And
Yeah, it was close with 80.
and so while there was no determination of who Satoshi was, and there was no determination of ownership, control, or right or access to Bitcoin, what the decision for the $100 million award was the jury determining that Kleiman was owed a portion of the intellectual property rights of the company to which he hadn't been compensated. And so I think based on my conflict and David's conflict because of our early involvement with this matter. We really can't say anything else about it or our knowledge of certain facts and what have you. So I guess I'll hand the mic over to Adela or Sasha, and you guys can talk about it, or we can move. You don't want, she's looking at me like I don't want that goddamn.
There was
mic.
a tweet that went out yesterday. Apparently, Greg Maxwell said anyone involved in Bitcoin development is at risk of being subject to multiple multi-billion lawsuits. In this climate, I wouldn't expect any substantial protocol changes to get competent review. So
Right,
there
and
is-
my view is it's not Craig Wright's money that's going after these Bitcoin developers. It's Calvin Ayer's money, because Calvin Ayer is legitimately rich with or without crypto, because he was like the gambling king of Antigua and all the other online gambling. And my view is it's Calvin Ayer's money that is doing this, and not Craig Wright's money, because I don't think Craig Wright has the money to go after and create these international lawsuits against developers. I think it's Calvin Ayer's money.
So here's my thing. Whether or not Craig Wright is Satoshi or not, this lives in a place of neutrality in my mind mostly. I just don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything substantively at all. Right. But at the end of the day, in that case, so Craig and Calvin have this media company, CoinGeek, right, where they put out their choice select articles on, whatever narrative that they've chosen to put forth. And their narrative was so misleading because in the judgment, the judge, Reinhardt, says, I don't believe that Craig Wright has acted in good faith. And went as far as to say, I don't believe the evidence that he's presented. He's been very naughty in how he's presented his evidence. He's withheld, he's lied, so for them to then mislead through their media voice that never happened. At that point, this is just not someone that I respect. I don't respect his opinion. I don't respect him. End of story. Party done.
Yeah, and we don't want to spend too much time on this because we have other. I think we are going to move on to the MiamiCoin, which is another very interesting topic. Since again, we are streaming to you live from Miami. So we have the MiamiCoin being launched by the city of Miami with the mayor, Francis Suarez, who is very crypto friendly. And of course, when the news came out, all of the majority of the crypto space, which is mostly shitcoiners, love the idea because they've never met a token they don't want to invest in. But some of us purists that are all into Bitcoin, we were not happy about it. We started calling it a shitcoin. And of course, from a legal perspective, what's going on? But then I learned that, well, legally, municipality is allowed to create their own currency for the municipality. And this creates a very, very interesting situation where it's like that line from the movie Nixon. If a president orders it, it's not illegal. So if a municipality launches a shitcoin, it may not actually be a shitcoin. It's actually a legal currency. So who wants to tackle this one?
David
Again,
does. David is like an insider on this
there
project,
could
so
be some conflict of interest
definitely.
here, being in Miami. Who wants to explain the legality of launching the MiamiCoin in the crypto world that is legally viable and should not be considered a shitcoin?
I'll take this.
Well, I just want to say one thing. If we're going to make something, the distinction being legal means it's not a shitcoin. Is that the distinction we're going with? Because I think it's legal. That doesn't mean it's not a shitcoin in my mind. Is anything a shitcoin? That's not,
Preach. Preach.
Well, I wasn't expecting Jason to jump on that one.
Okay, so, yeah, so here's the thing, right? So for me, and this is, we can talk about stocks as well. I don't know if we'll get to that topic. But for me, it can still, for me, if it has legal viability, I don't actually see it as a shitcoin. It could be unethical. It could be a bad project, but I don't tend to call things shitcoins when they have legal jurisdiction to operate.
Okay, so then I'll let Jason, as always, discuss the nuances of the law. But from a holistic worldview, I think it's going to be legal. I think what Mayor Suarez is doing is he's trying to get out ahead of the curve to make him differentiate himself. And if this takes off, he could literally jump from mayor to governor to senator to president. But if this goes to zero, if this goes to zero, he's going to be the favorite professor, economics professor at FAU. So wow. He's got he's banked a lot on being crypto friendly. How this goes, and by the way, I think a lot of municipalities, if this works, very quickly.
Well, it's the same thing with El Salvador. If it works, other countries might jump in on Bitcoin being legal tender, which I know we can debate all day about whether it's good or bad.
Starting to jump in on that and considering making Bitcoin legal tender in their jurisdictions. Obviously, nobody's really thought this through. For anyone who has, any kind of reservations about this, you should go to your computer and just type in Bank Secrecy Act. That way, you can really get a great understanding of what governments can do with money when it's legal tender.
Well, hey guys, as usual, a lot of people are cursing out Jason Seibert. Moderators, you don't need to ban those. They were fully expected. You can leave them in the comment section.
I love when Jason's getting cursed and not me. That's so unusual. Have I gone so mainstream that people aren't offended by me anymore?
You're so offensive.
I haven't been booed off the stage in like a year. Like it's kind of getting sad. Like when I met Tone basically booed me off the stage. It was at a crypto conference in DC. I'll never forget it.
Hold on a second. Hold on. What if I said today that's curse worthy? I don't know. And Rihanna's across the way saying, Jason, be nice. I don't think I've said anything today that's curse worthy.
Yeah. So the exact message was, Jason seems like A with the poop emoji.
What?
Apparently, I'm a poop emoji. Well,
I think they're confusing academic intelligence with being an ass.
Wow. So the thing about MiamiCoin that I think is relevant is, one, it is built off of proof of transmission, which tags on, Tone calls it a leech, but it does tag on to the Bitcoin blockchain. So technologically speaking, it is a platform that is based off of the Bitcoin validation process and coin. So that's nice to see something that's utilizing the most secure, most favored, most valuable blockchain that's out there instead of launching a brand new coin. The Stacks protocol and the way that Stacks is working, if it was not a blockchain-based crypto project, would be similar to some kind of municipal issued bond platform where the city or the municipality is entitled to or receives certain funds to put towards projects. So it's a tax or it's a bond or it's a levy that gets voted on. Instead of it being voted on, instead of it being a mandated bond, this effectively creates a scenario to where people that are acquiring MiamiCoin are submitting themselves to a voluntary tax, knowing that with every purchase of the MiamiCoin, that the funds or the proceeds that go to the city are supposed to be used for municipal programs. And anytime we get into a situation where the government says, hey, I've got a voluntary tax, you can participate or not, I'm all for that, as opposed to a mandatory fundraising event. That said, I have been approached, and Adele has been approached in the last couple of months by people that want to do a private version of MiamiCoin to launch a product. And here's the thing. If you are thinking about using the MiamiCoin platform as your fundraising event, you are going to be in violation of securities laws. The reason that Miami gets to do it is that municipalities, governments, cities, whatever, are given the ability to issue these types of investment vehicles without registration based on their existence as that type of government entity. When a private individual tries to play in that pool, they're going to get smacked down. And that's really all I want to say about MiamiCoin. And now you can talk about how it's a shit coin or everything else.
Anybody else want to comment on MiamiCoin
Well,
first?
I mean, people need to understand the difference of what MiamiCoin does is with every coin that's minted, a portion goes to the city.
That's
So that's about, yeah.
Right?
I think it's a little, yeah,
Something like that.
so I was trying to just look that up quickly, but so over the last, so Miami's made, the numbers range anywhere from $5 to $15 million already. They anticipate to make about 60 million in 2022. And it's just a fundraising mechanism for the city. There's no value to the coin until there's a use, like every other crypto. So there's a use factor. Right now, it's just a fundraiser. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out for the value of what MiamiCoin can do and what you can do in it. But Mayor Suarez has been a very crypto-friendly mayor. He is welcoming to crypto. And this is an opportunity, and I agree with everything Jason just said, despite the fact that it was a little esoteric, in saying what the city can do as a sovereign component of the government versus what a private person can do. Those aren't the same things. No, you cannot go out and start printing your own money and making it look like it's Miami City.
Wait, Sasha, you want to say something before I
Yeah,
curse
I
things
don't
out?
have much to say on MiamiCoin, but I do think it's quite innovative, and it is a great way that the cities raise money, and they'll probably be able to do some good things with it. And they've attracted a lot of talented people to the city. Just friends of mine that I know that have moved here over the last year. It is becoming a real hub here, and I think the mayor has a lot to do with that.
Maybe they'll raise so much money that all the Florida man news will be like really just positive stuff. Florida man builds really successful.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my view on the whole situation, right? So I'm not a fan of MiamiCoin because the last thing that the world needs is another currency. And if MiamiCoin is successful, every city in America will now have their own money. And I think that's insane. Okay, we already have 5,000 shitcoins, and now, thank you. And now we're gonna have a currency for every single city you go to in America. Now, some people may think it's great, right? I don't. So I don't like the idea of having other money. I'd rather have the whole bond situation like what El Salvador did. They're not creating additional money. Okay, so I'm not a fan of MiamiCoin. Now, having said that, they seem to have the legal jurisdiction to do it. So that's why it's not a shitcoin. I just think it's a really bad idea to create another currency, right? It's bad enough to exchange currencies of the world. Now, on top of that, I have a technological problem with MiamiCoin because it is using the Stacks protocol. So by using the Stacks protocol, you are now adding another currency into an unnecessary technological equation. So and someone asked a specific question, if MiamiCoin was a blockstream-based coin, would it be a shitcoin? Well, it's not about being a blockstream-based coin. Now, if MiamiCoin was not using the Stacks protocol, but if MiamiCoin was using the Liquid sidechain and using Liquid Bitcoin for its transactional token to get that timestamp into the Bitcoin blockchain through Liquid or RGB, I would look at it a lot more favorably because Liquid or RGB do not have their own coin involved in it. The RGB doesn't have a token at all, and Liquid token is the Bitcoin token. So that's why I don't like Stacks, because it's like same reason I don't like what's the one from Argentina? Rootstock. Oh, right. I don't like RSK. I don't like RSK for the same reason I don't like Stacks, because they're adding an unnecessary token into the technology. So those are my two problems, like the MiamiCoin, because the last thing the world needs is another freaking currency. And the technology they're using, I believe, is the wrong technology. They should be focusing on the Liquid sidechain.
So the last thing this world needs is another mandatory tax. And that's why I'm okay with MiamiCoin, because it's a voluntary tax. And if you get rid of the currency component out of it, and you look at this as people volunteering their effort, and maybe somebody out there thinks MiamiCoin is going to 1000x or 100x or whatever it is, and that there's some investment deal out of it, at least it leaves another mandated levy or something that the city isn't going to put on the total populace And the people that are getting into it are the ones that are knowingly getting into it, knowing that the city is going to get that money. The only reason I wanted to talk about MiamiCoin today, not only that we're in Miami, was that if there are private individuals that are thinking of launching a fundraising project based off of the same type of rubric as MiamiCoin, you're going to get slapped down pretty hard by state or federal regulators on that, because you're now 100% operating into an investment contract analysis.
I personally think that the best part about Mayor Suarez is, and we haven't talked about this in the last couple of months, that when Eric Adams,
what everybody needs to know is that
from New
Mayor
York.
Suarez is a personal friend of David's, and everything he's been
Wait, I was about to
saying
take a
is
shot of
because
it.
he's a friend.
I was about to take a shot. Is that the mayor of New York, just like Suarez took a payment in Bitcoin, the mayor of New York, when he just got he won the election in November, but he just got sworn in January, took his first 2 payments as the mayor of New York in Bitcoin. I think that's the craziest part of this story. Not that Miami is trying to create a crypto coin, is that 2 mayors, Miami and New York City, are taking their payments in Bitcoin. That's
right. But again,
that's
but this is where I have a critique of Mayor Suarez. He's taking his payment in Bitcoin, but yet he's offering all the people who live in Miami MiamiCoin. That's a little hypocritical, no?
See, you and I define shitcoin differently. I think you can have a legal shitcoin. Now, I will agree with you, it's a shitcoin, and I'd rather have the Bitcoin than the shitcoin, but not that it's as long as we're defining shitcoins, not all shitcoins are illegal.
Listen, I kind of, I don't know if I feel strongly about it enough. I'm so triggered by you right now.
You were so triggered.
I'm so triggered. I don't know if I feel strongly enough about it to like it. I'm gonna have hat hair and kill you if you take my hat off. But what I do know is that I'm looking at this more favorably than I am looking at El Salvador.
Yeah.
Because El Salvador
government mandate use of Bitcoin
Right.
is bullshit.
It's bullshit. I think it goes against the
No,
very
but I'm comparing this to the
principles of
bonds. I'm not
of
comparing
Bitcoin.
it as a currency. I'm comparing it
Right.
for funding the city, right? Like the way El Salvador is funding it, assuming money doesn't get lost or stolen, right? Assuming, like, I like the volcano bond idea because not that we can debate the currency side, right? But if the Miami coin is used as a tax to fund the city, I'm not a fan of it because it adds another currency into the mix. Someone asked me, well, Tone, do you have a problem with all of like the 5,000 stocks that we have? Why shouldn't there be one stock? But you're not transacting in the stock, right? If all of a sudden Amazon and Netflix started using their stock for their services, that's a problem.
Agreed. Hold on. Let's just
Hold
be
on.
clear.
Hold on.
Let's be
They
clear.
already do use it as currency for their activities when they offer stock options to employees as part of their compensation packages. Now, hold on. Before we get too far afield, one of the things that I want to combine in here, and I'm going to hitchhike into this conversation. There was a bill that was proposed by House of Representatives to make central bank digital currencies illegal in the United States.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
The CBDCs are very interesting, and the fact that we have to have they are interesting in that well, you know of at least one, which is Dcash, that's been released by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And as you and I with OPS and St. Lucia and our consultancy looked into Dcash, we looked into the registration requirements to use this central bank digital currency. In order to use the currency of this country, you have to provide a government ID, you have to register, you have to give full disclosure of who you are, and then all of your transactions, every dollar, penny, every transaction you have is now discoverable nonstop by the government. Now, a continuing and constant search into activities without justification is a violation of constitutional rights to privacy. And to the extent that the anti-CBDC law that was put forward is aimed at protecting privacy rights, protecting Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures, I agree with the bill to not allow the United States to issue a central bank digital currency, simply because Uncle Sam doesn't need to know how I spend my $2.52 on a They got no business knowing what that is. They can go get a warrant
That's your
like
opinion,
everybody
right?
else.
They believe they deserve to know exactly how you spend your $2, right?
They
From their
think they
perspective.
deserve to, but unfortunately, we got this thing called the fucking Constitution.
No, they don't care that
and the
exists.
amendments to the Constitution that say, no, you don't get to know.
What
what's
it- what
happening.
That's
all-
not
all
that.
the
No,
CBDCs
no.
are is a workaround the reporting requirements for financial institutions. Financial institutions have to do two things. They have to keep records and they have to report. Okay. So when you're under a certain amount of transactional, when you're under a certain transaction amount, you don't have to report. You've got to report at a certain amount. You have to record keep for certain amounts. Yeah, there's ceilings for that. There are floors and ceilings for that. What CBDCs do is get around that shit by pitching the whole, we live in a digital era, paperless
Right, but
money,
Adela,
like
they're saying the purpose
transactions
for
growth.
CBDCs to exist is to allow the unbanked
And
to
it's
be able to
horseshit.
transact in
It's
this.
complete horseshit.
Because here's the thing, in
horseshit.
order to be banked, you need a government issued ID.
That's
You need
right.
all the same requirements that the CBDCs are requiring, are the same requirements that
Yeah.
you need to have a bank account.
Onboarding is actually harder than going to a credit union to
Yeah,
open
right.
an account.
Right. It's
So
Yeah,
every
what
single,
happens when they give you a social credit score with the CBDCs, and then
Like
you
China
can't,
is doing
yeah,
it?
you can't get on a bus, you can't get in your car. Like it's just everything's tracked
Yeah,
this way. There's no
Airbnb.
freedom once we have that. Not, I don't think. I really am
I
opposed.
think we're a
to
little
them.
bit way of left field right now.
Wait,
And it is getting
let
very.
me wrap this in. The tie-in between municipal or government issued currencies as such as MiamiCoin, to the extent that they do not require a government issued ID to purchase or have wallet or interact with it, I'm just fine with it.
oh God, let me wrap this up.
The moment that you start mandating identification in order to deal with or to have cryptocurrency or cash is the same thing as saying, in order for you to get a $20 bill from a quickie mart, you have to present ID to get your goddamn change.
You
And
have
it's
to
so
present
ridiculous,
ID to get a
I
$20
just can't
bill.
get it.
Right.
You have to present ID.
And we agree on
From a
we
quickie
we've
mart?
we've
From a
agreed
quickie
at that. We agree about that. So I think at the end of the day, no, I do agree
No,
with
I'm
you.
talking to Dave.
Oh my
Sorry.
God. So at the end of the day, what Jason's saying, look, decentralized currency, good, government issued, central bank issued, digital currency, bad.
So,
Yeah.
but just to come full circle, David supports government regulation
Oh
and
my
government overreach. Jason does not. In case you need more clarity on that, and just so you know, when you take your ATM card and you stick it into the ATM at the Quickie Mart, you take out $20 to get that ATM card. You used your driver's
I'm not
license,
talking about
and it's
the ATM
completely
card.
tracked. And it's completely tracked. When you
David.
got the 20, I know you're saying when you get it from the cash register.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
With-
everyone who
yeah.
got that $20
But
bill.
I'm sorry, as an ATM owner,
Right.
as an ATM owner, I can say this. You can go up to my machine and go like, I don't want to use this broke machine, whatever. Right. But when governments and central banks start issuing currencies, and then the next step is, oh, wow, that's
Good
all we're
point.
going to use
Good
now.
point. Yep,
You know,
good
you
point.
can't opt out of that.
And just to be
Right, you
clear,
just don't have a
buying
choice.
Miami coin does not actually buy you into the Miami municipality. For people who think that you're actually going to become an owner, like someone can go buy Miami, you can't buy Miami by buying all the Miami coin.
Well, I couldn't buy Miami anyways, because I'm poor. So
All right, so we're going to move on to the next topic. I'll just mention real quick my view on CBDCs. They are twofold. One, it's a full-blown, easier surveillance system for the federal government, because right now they've deputized the banking system to be the surveillance arm, and they probably feel it's too annoying, so they want to do a direct surveillance system. It can tie into your social credit score where they can cut you off. And finally, as much as people hate the banks, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo and all the rest, we do have, America has privately created money, and with the CBDC, the banks will no longer create money and credit. And it goes back to how I grew up in Russia, where there was just a bank of the Soviet Union. So basically, it's removing privatization of money. Right now, our money is mostly federal, but it has a privatization component because the banks and your credit card have the ability to create money and credit. They will no longer have that.
I want everybody to know, for the record, Tone Vays just gave an argument for the existence of banks?
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
All right, moving on.
We're taking a win.
On that note.
On that note, moving on, we got two other topics to cover: NFTs and the DeFi patents. Do you want to do the DeFi patents first? 'Cause I don't know what story to pull up. Let's go with DeFi patents.
So this is good.
Okay.
Simplify this
Okay.
because no one understands what you're talking about.
So the DeFi patents are, so again, Reggie Middleton was mentioned earlier. I'll reference the interview I did with Reggie Middleton about Veritasium for like 4 years ago, before it even launched. And Reggie Middleton's been a friend of mine for a long time. I tried to warn him that this could end badly, and it did, though I did not think the SEC would go after him. Now, we're not going to talk about the case. We're not going to talk about Reggie Middleton's SEC case, but we're going to talk about the patents that were granted to Reggie Middleton on all DeFi, potentially all DeFi transactions, which he filed for before Ethereum got created. Who wants to give us the background?
The only person who understands this.
Okay, so long before Ethereum existed, Reggie Middleton was creating smart contracting platforms with Bitcoin. Yes, smart contracts.
I did my best to book him out of creating his own token.
So
I tried.
smart contracts were not a new thing that somehow Ethereum enabled. Reggie was doing it with Bitcoin long before Ethereum was created. At the same time that he was doing that, he filed for patents in Japan, in the United States, and multiple districts over the concept of taking traditional financial instruments and having them patented for a new process through blockchain and cryptocurrency type transactions. This last year, after many years, Japan and the United States granted those patents. Now, what does that mean? For all you people out there that are launching your great new DeFi project where you're going to disrupt the world, you're violating Reggie's patent, and you are now subject to patent enforcement litigation from Reggie Middleton. And if you didn't know, he may be contacting David Silver to represent him in those litigation proceedings. Further, if you don't want that litigation to come after you, I'm sure Reggie would be happy to take your patent licensing fees on a recurring monthly basis for the use of his technology.
But please don't DM Tone Vays asking me to connect you to Reggie Middleton, because I'm about to put in a fee for that.
I think we're gonna hang out with him later. I'm such a great
What
guy.
I want to say is
But
to Reggie Middleton and his vision and the fact that he saw where this was going back then, and he is justified and vindicated by the release of these patents. Well done.
Well
sir.
done. Yeah,
Well
well
done.
done. Yeah.
Well
Reg.
done.
Good job, Reggie.
Congratulations, Reggie.
And when you make enough fees out, and by the way, I am actually anti-patent law. I hate patents. But when you make enough money, feel free to file a counter lawsuit against the SEC to try and get your money back. You have my permission for that.
So just to be clear, we are applauding Reggie for being an early adopter, just like we should be applauding Craig Wright for being an early
No,
adopter.
stop
Oh,
it.
see, I knew they were going to agree.
You know what? You know what just happened? Because David Silver made a positive plug of Craig Wright, he just earned 25 cents. This is Idiocracy right now,
Yes.
brought to you by Carl's Jr.
My 25 cents, I now have almost as much money as Adela.
That's true. That's a lot for me.
I can almost go.
Okay, so here's the big question. How is Reggie gonna enforce the patent on this DeFi? Because most of these kids that are launching their DeFi stuff don't care. Because if he can't defend it, then he's gonna lose.
That's a tough one. So we're assuming for a second that Jason's correct, which I love him, but I have not seen the patents. I don't understand the patents. I don't know what the patents cover. First, someone's gonna, even if Reggie has a patent that somehow covers every DeFi platform, which would make it a hell of a patent, given the current state of the law. Presuming that's the case, someone's going to challenge him and say it's an unpatentable. What's the verbiage I'm looking for? It's in the public domain. It's in the public domain.
But Vitalik can try and do that.
I mean, no one's gonna roll over and just say.
So So here's
It's
the
never been
thing.
tested, is what I'm saying.
So we have old patent cases where people have said this is in the public domain or it was obvious and shouldn't be granted the patent. We've had examples like that before. And my favorite case about things like this is the squirt gun industry versus super soaker. Okay, squirt guns existed. Everybody knew a squirt gun, right? You squeeze the little plastic trigger, you shoot your friends, you go pew, 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 and everything's great. And then all of a sudden, little Billy showed up with a goddamn super soaker, and there's nothing you could do. Yes, the squirt gun industry tried to go after the people that created the super soaker to deny them the patent on super soaker because the squirt gun industry looked at the super soaker and said, holy shit, we want to make that too.
Can we all just
All right.
compliment Jason for actually telling a legal story by simplifying it, using a super soaker as a metaphor? Congratulations.
I'm here for you.
work.
I'm here for you. So at the end of the day, what the US Patent Trademark Office decided was that you had 80 years to develop super soaker technology, squirt gun people, and you didn't do it. And along comes the super. No, it's not the same thing. Anybody that's been in a squirt gun fight knows that a super soaker and a squirt gun are not the same thing. But they were arguing, it was obvious that anybody could have created the super soaker and you shouldn't give the patent to the guy that created the super soaker, right? But little Billy and little Johnny, when little Billy's got a super soaker and little Johnny's got a squirt gun, little Johnny knows his ass is handed to him. Run, Johnny, run. And so what the US Patent Trademark Office said, you had 80 years to figure out that the super soaker was the next evolution. You didn't do it. Somebody else came along, and therefore we are going to give them the exclusive rights to develop super soaker products for the next 20 years. The financial industry had plenty of time to figure out how to do digital transmissions and digital creation of financial products, and they didn't do it. And Reggie came along and said, I can do wrapped Bitcoin. Yeah, he was the first one to do wrapped Bitcoin. And nobody knows that because they think some other asshat did it. Reggie put Bitcoin into a Veritasium token in a smart contract and traded it on the Ethereum platform before anybody else even thought that was possible. And he did it with the concepts that he had patented before Ethereum was even created. And the fact that he was an innovator, saw the future when everybody else is sitting around going, he created the super soaker of digital financial products while everybody else was still using squirt guns.
How long have we been doing this show?
I think it started in 2017.
So we've been doing the show for at least about 4 years. I have never had this happen before. Someone just sent me a text message on my cell phone and says, I'm watching the show. Can you please comment about a specific case? And I'm like, sure, I'm going to do it. I have no idea who it is. This goes to show you, I've been doing.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Are you saying you've got a live caller?
I've got a live caller on the show. So wait, and now I see the little ... He's going to identify himself. He's kind of excited. I assume it's a he because I feel like our average viewer is a 26-year-old male with no college education.
No, actually, I think of all the shows, I have a very high percentage of female viewers. They don't comment much, but there is actually a pretty high percentage of female viewers.
The look Rihanna just gave you, saying that the large percentage of your viewers are female. She was like, "Oh, honey, no, they're not."
Relative to other crypto shows, we're still 90% male, but at least it's about 10% female versus 98 to 2.
So I'm not sure.
So hold on, I'm going to address.
No offense, but I just wanted to comment on something whilst David, works on his drama and we identify.
No, he's identified himself, and I know who it is.
I want to say something. So, we've just talked about Reggie, and we've said, Reggie's filed the patents on these things, which is gonna be public record, really. But verify. You can go on, do a search on YouTube and look at his earlier videos. I've seen videos of Reggie from like 2013, 2011.
So have I, before that even.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like I was watching Reggie on RT with Max Kaiser before Bitcoin basically was like 2008, 2009. I mean, Reggie, I've known of Reggie before Bitcoin existed. He's not like a nobody. Let's put it that way.
So just because I like this now, you think Reggie has more money than Crow?
Not anymore. Not after the SEC. not after the SEC sent the probe up his. But before the SEC thing, yeah.
And I always really wondered why the SEC went after him, because unlike a lot of the other shit coins and tokens, like his product had value to it. So I
yeah, except the damn token. Like I really hated the token. Like I kind of like anyway. Reggie, come back to the show. And
you just don't like anything that's not Bitcoin.
He also had the best card. Didn't he have that gold?
God.
I have one. I have one. Man, I should have brought it with me.
Oh my God.
I have a few. I have his original like gold thing. So here's what I want to know, Reggie. Come back to the show. We're going to talk about it. Here's what I want to know. And Jason, you may be able to answer this because you seem to know the most about it. What I am really curious about, because you said the wrap Bitcoin, will his patent apply to the Bitcoin liquid sidechain from Blockstream? And that is going to be a very interesting discussion that I want to have with Reggie, and then give a call to Adam Back, the CEO of Blockstream, because I am very curious how that's going to go. And I do like Reggie, and I think Reggie likes Bitcoin, so he may, let them slide on that one. But I don't know if it'll affect. But I'm very, very curious. That is going to be my number one question for Reggie.
We should bring him on the show.
Yeah, we should.
Tone,
Yeah.
first of all, for your views, you're asking if it applies to liquid. Explain
Right.
what that process is.
Sure.
And I'll answer whether or not that applies to.
Sure. So here's how. So the liquid sidechain. I guess I hate the word white paper at this point. Like Satoshi's greatest contribution is destroying the concept of a white paper forever. It's as much of a contribution as Bitcoin itself. So the liquid sidechain was the paper for that, I believe, was written in like 2014. And it's a sidechain of Bitcoin that creates a second layer smart contract solution, among other things. I see it in a most layman of layman's terms. It's an Ethereum competitor on top of Bitcoin, because the Bitcoin core developers knew that in order for Bitcoin to scale, you cannot stick that smart contract language on Bitcoin mainnet. So you build a side chain. It doesn't have its own, it has its own native token, but it's pegged to Bitcoin like a casino chip. You walk into a casino, you put money on the table, they give you their in-house currency that is pegged to the dollar. You gamble with that, you walk out, you exchange it back for paper dollars. The liquid sidechain works the same way. You bring your Bitcoin into the liquid sidechain, you lock it in, you get liquid Bitcoin. In order to do your transactions, you can build your shit coins on top of the liquid sidechain. You can use it as like Bitcoin transactions themselves. They are very, very private. They are more scalable than the Bitcoin mainnet, not as scalable as the Lightning Network. But in any case, in order to transact on the liquid sidechain and build your NFT, for example, which could be our next topic, you need the liquid token, which is pegged to Bitcoin by locking your Bitcoin in a federated sidechain. That is liquid. Now, would Reggie's DeFi patent apply to that?
Yes.
Legal opinions worth what you pay for that.
So Tone and I had a conversation where Tone admitted that if you build your scam on Liquid, your scam has more validity than if you build your scam on Ethereum.
Yes, 100%.
Wait, can I explain why?
100%.
I want to see if I understand
100%.
Tone yet. After
100%.
all these years, is that because you're building on Bitcoin, which is good, and Ethereum is bad?
Hold on.
Wait,
It's not a matter of good and bad. It's not a matter of good and bad.
Yes.
No. It's not a matter of good and bad. Is that if you're going to claim that you are building on top of a decentralized platform and you need a decentralized platform, I don't believe like when Hinman came out with a speech and he said, I believe Ethereum is sufficiently decentralized. The first thing we said on our Bitcoin news show, Hinman is wrong. Okay. And that is our professional opinion that Hinman is wrong.
Wait, hold on, wait. I want to ask a question first. Yeah, I want to ask a question. Where was the, what story am I remembering where like there was the whole argument that when Ethereum was doing one of the changes, there were 7 guys on the phone or 8 guys on the phone.
The DAO hack, the reverse of the DAO hack.
Yeah, with the whole
the fork
argument
of
was
the
the
DAO,
7
right.
guys made the decision.
Yeah.
Are you talking about when the immutable Ethereum blockchain became mutable?
Right.
Right.
Is that when you're talking about?
So
Come on,
my,
David Silver, decentralization is a myth.
So look,
There is no such thing as
Right,
decentralization.
so my view is this, right? If you are launching your token, whether it's a DeFi token, yield farming, NFT, ICO, whatever it is, if you are launching your token on top of, not on top of Bitcoin, and by Bitcoin, yes, it could be stacks, even though I hate that project, but it needs to, for me, my optimal ones are liquid or RGB, maybe there'll be more, right? By launching it on top of, say, liquid, I will not argue that you are technologically stupid. Now we can argue that your project may be a scam, may not be a good investment, whatever, but at least I'm not going to argue that your CTO doesn't know what he's doing, okay? So my view is if you are going to claim that you need a decentralized blockchain for whatever it is you're doing, it better be an actual decentralized blockchain. And there's only one of those, and that's Bitcoin. So launching your token on top of Bitcoin at least removes the technological stupidity of your project out of the equation. And now we can argue about the rest of it.
I'm just so happy I finally understood something.
You don't understand shit unless your wife tells you
You know
understand
what?
it, David. Let's just.
Well, now we just
I-
described being married,
So-
being a Jewish man married to a Jewish woman.
So, listen, at the heart of this, and this has nothing to do with a legal issue or anything, but I have to say, because Joan, I know you for what now, 7, 8 years?
Probably.
Yeah, at this point.
At least
And
2014.
you know what? You have remained consistent in your views, and I feel like a lot of our peers and colleagues have not. So I admire that. Just wanted to say that. Tell you something nice today.
Oh my God, wait, I think I'm going to agree with Adele on something here. I personally believe that lawyers should every year have to go retrospectively because every single lawyer I went up against, when I started doing the panel circuit, I'd say in 2013 or 14, every single one of those motherfuckers, and I'm cursing now, lied. And every single one of them at every big firm, Perkins, Cooley, I'm naming names. Every single one of them have now retracted every single statement they said when they were talking on panels in 2013, 2014, because all they did was pandering to the crowd of 15 people in the room.
All they're trying to do is get a client.
And
They're
it
not
was so,
giving legal truth. They're pandering to get a client.
And I got booed off of every single stage until 2018.
We both did, man.
Yeah.
I've been swatted. I've had all kinds of stuff.
I have one particular lawyer in my mind who just said such crap out of his mouth. Yeah. And this happened to be, I'm like really fat right now. It was the fattest I ever was. I was like 275 pounds. I'm like 220 now. And I was huge. And I was like, and I was sitting there and this guy, I just wanted to pulverize him because he was at a big fancy firm. He was an of-counsel lawyer, which is code for I have no clients when I work at a big firm. And all he said was, and he just kept saying things about like, it's a utility token. This is like airline miles and utility tokens. These are all legal. The guy belongs in jail.
So the concept of the original statement that Bitcoin is like an airline mile are the arguments we made before the SEC v. Shavers case. Until the judge heard all that and said, no, Bitcoin is money.
I don't know if you guys know this, but the best lawyer in the country represented Trendon Shavers to get that ruling for you.
So coming from the digital.
I'm not the best lawyer in the country.
No, you're just not my lawyer.
I'm not your lawyer. Well, I was at one point, and then you fired me, and that's how that went.
You get what you pay for.
Right? It was free.
You get what you pay for.
Wow. So coming from the digital currency space or before Bitcoin, once I got to Bitcoin, when I wrote my legal thesis on it, I treated it as a virtual currency, a virtual convertible currency. So I never had these issues with, trying to figure out what like asset class it was. To me, it always just acted like that. It's something that you could use to transact. It was transferable. You can change it to something else. It had some sort of nominal value at the time, which to me equals currency. But what if it's art?
Okay, are we getting into the whole NFT? Oh boy.
Nice one.
NFTs. Hold on. That's why Sasha's wearing the sequin shirt.
Is that NFT?
No, but I do own some nice wearables.
All right. So Adela, real quick before we do final topic of NFTs, you mentioned how I've been consistent throughout the whole space. So so it's possible I might have been wrong. And I kept I've been saying for years that a world of 10,000 tokens is an insane world, but it looks like that's where the world's headed.
Well, we're already.
And I really believed that like the world would get smarter, but now with the whole politics and COVID and my favorite Twitter account is Clown World.
Oh,
And
yes,
now I'm like reading like other headlines there. I really do see us trending towards idiocracy. Everyone seen the documentary?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Wait, documentary? or the movie?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Are you talking about, hold on,
You don't
Tone,
think it's a documentary?
Tone, are you talking about,
I mean, it's truly amazing that having watched that the first time, probably 15 years
Yeah.
ago to now, it just happened.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like it's a
Yeah.
documentary to me now, right?
Yeah, it is.
And right. So like as I see the world trending in that direction, I'm actually like, wow, holy shit, are we actually gonna be living in a world with, you know, 1 million tokens?
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I actually do see idiocracy.
What if here's the thing, in a free and open market, we who are we to say that, oh, this let's do something to not have that happen? Let it happen. Let the market decide what's going to stay and what's not
Well,
going to stay.
but the SEC and the US government's in a way, okay? So here's the problem, right? Well, like I don't want to take a chance at participating in this clown world because of the US jurisdiction. So
authorities and functionaries.
no, because with my luck, I'm gonna be like the next Reggie. And
No. Reggie has patented himself. You're trying to be the next.
Yeah, he's smarter than me, yeah.
Reggie's patent of Reggie.
yeah. So
planned all of this.
right.
He planned all
So
of this.
basically, like if that is going to be the world, the US needs to collapse sooner or later so that they're not, you know, a global policeman. And then we can have an even playing field.
Not to comment, speculate, or talk about the collapse of the US. because
Right.
we're already on enough goddamn watch
Right.
lists.
So we look, it,
Move on to NFT.
it needs to be an even playing field, and you can't have an even playing field with the US being the global regulator. So without the US as a global regulator, now we have a playing field of 1 million tokens, and now we can participate. At least I can.
But let the market decide. I see.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The market can't decide because the US is in the way.
The market has decided that Bitcoin is that asset class that you hold on to because it is going to have future value. That's what the market has decided. And that's how I feel about it. Right. And people are now using other asset classes to transact, to do other things, to buy their flights, to buy their plane tickets, to yield and stake and farm and all of that stuff. We're not using Bitcoin because the market decided that that wasn't its utility.
So on that note, I know no one amongst us in this group, on this panel, that knows more about NFTs than Sasha. In fact, her
Yep.
husband is prolific
Yeah.
in the NFT realm. And I will say this, her husband owns a very famous NFT featuring yours truly, the pimento loaf Pepe.
There's a Pepe of you?
There's multiple Pepes have made, but the Mike in Space pimento loaf Pepe has actually been transmitted through space. And I believe your husband owns one, doesn't he?
Sure does.
Hey, can we?
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to pass the mic to Sasha.
Pass the mic to Sasha. Can someone,
And she's going to talk about
can someone
NFT.
please time out Crypto Rebel from the comments? Like, I'm tired of BSV people. Please, like, I can't. Can a moderator just like, yes, co-moderation.
Bitcoin
Oh my
Satoshi
God, I
version
see- I-
people are kicked out?
I say one nice thing
Well,
about
I'll
Pep
put a
Ryan.
little,
Rolls Royce.
yeah. I'll put a little plug in there for the rare Pepes and the counterparty protocol. But the whole NFT space has been pretty crazy. Like some of them I think are I think they're great. I think Tone might disagree, but I've watched it all, you know, transpire. My husband made what I think is the first music NFT, DJ Pepe. And in that, you can have your own playlist and just control what you give to people. So I think it is going to be something that takes off for the long run, in my opinion. I know everyone has differing views on what coins are going to have value over time, but I think they are a unique legal structure too, because where they are an art, they are treated just like a digital like baseball card, basically, unless you're selling it with the expectation of profit. But when it has, so when you look at it from the SEC and from the FinCEN side, there is a definite carve out for something that has a use. So it's different than just selling a future investment because it has this art piece on it. It's a unique thing. So it's right now kind of outside the regulatory
Intrinsic
scheme.
subjective value. Yeah.
So way back in the day, you know, in like 2017, many moon ago, the question was raised of whether or not rare pepes were securities. And rare pepes as securities is the same question as whether or not NFTs are securities, because an NFT, a non-fungible token, in the way that it's being presented today as collector work or what have you, is the same thing as a rare pepe that was launched on Counterparty, which was a part of Bitcoin a long ass time ago. So for all of you that are watching that have never heard of rare pepes and think NFTs are all brand new, it's just a different acronym for the same thing that we've been doing in digital art for a long ass
It's a really
time.
great way to launder money. I mean, it's fantastic. It's also a really great way to.
That
it's
conversation
amazing.
just turned.
No, listen, I'm gonna just draw.
God.
I'm not gonna pretend that it doesn't exist. I mean, I'm not saying.
Oh
I'm
my
not-
God. Like, are we sharing a brain tonight?
No, it's like it's an awesome way to launder money.
It is. It's the easiest way for someone in crypto to launder money is to overpay for an NFT.
Or commit fraud.
And by the way,
And-
it's the
and-
same way in
and
the real artwork. It's the same way in
Well,
Ramat.
there's
That's
also a lot
true.
of
That's
watch
very
trading
true.
going on there. They're not actually like, they're just like driving the price
Right,
up.
So
like at an auction,
just
which is
just
also kinda
if I
unique.
may to borrow a Jasonism, if I may, imagine.
Which means she's going to speak, incoherently and esoteric.
True. Yeah, I should use a lot of buzzwords too, But imagine, if you may, that I mint my own NFT and then I decide to sell it to myself for $500,000, right? So there's a record of that transaction somewhere, right?
They can only sell it to Silver. He's got the
So
money.
if it's on Liquid, it's less
50 cents
scammy.
so far.
If I do it on Liquid, it's a lot less scammy than if I did it on Ethereum chain, right?
Correct. Well,
So-
it's a lot less scammy. It's also a lot more secure.
Yeah. Oh, isn't there?
No, there isn't,
They're
because
trying.
the problem, but you know why that is, right? I'm trying to explain that yesterday.
Wow.
So the reason why there is a very, very
Yeah.
small market for NFTs and all this other stuff on top of Liquid is because by launching on top of Liquid, your pool of suckers to buy into it are Bitcoiners versus your pool of suckers to buy into it are Ethereum people. And not that Ethereum people are necessarily, well, let me not use the right word there. But the point is, if you believe in Ethereum, you already believe in a world of 1 million tokens, right? So it's not that you are more susceptible to scams. It's just that you are a lot more open-minded to investing in anything and everything. So this is why all of this stuff is still being launched on Ethereum, because their pool of users is way bigger because they're gullible enough to buy into it. But technologically, it's not better.
So Tone, so imagine again, back to the whole NFT thing, right? I mint my own NFT. I buy it from myself for $500,000, right? There's a record of that transaction. I can go to a prospective buyer and say like, yo, my NFT is worth $500,000, right? That's
times 100 or whatever your issuance is. So
Oh,
you sell
right.
one for that, but if you issued like 100 cards with your thing, then multiply.
I'm just talking about one. Let's keep it simple,
I know,
right?
but the way it's working is they are doing it times 100.
Right. So, limited thing, you're going to get this at a deal for like $250,000. What did I just do there? Played a bunch of suckers.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
and
that's what.
And it's a lot harder to do that on a Bitcoin blockchain versus an Ethereum blockchain. That's what I'm saying.
So the
Yes,
sad,
it is.
it's the
No, it's
same,
not.
it's the
No, it's
same
not.
thing. It's the same thing. So the unfortunate thing is that that sort of player in the game delegitimizes the real artists like your husband, right? And gives an easy path to scammage to the bad actors.
Hold on, wait. To sum that up, what she's saying is To all the people that are buying Taylor Swift albums, you're ignoring the brilliance of Vince Gill. And what the hell are you doing?
There's like 2 people watching this who even know who those people are.
I'm sure there's more than one person that knows what I'm
I
talking
concur.
about. So,
Oh, is that Reggie?
No, it's not Reggie.
No, but he is watching.
Reggie?
Yeah. No, he is watching.
okay,
He
hold-
totally is watching.
How do you find the topics?
I just message him.
No, we know Reggie. I'll show this video later. We know Reggie's here in Miami. I missed him yesterday. We were at the conference, but yeah, I didn't run into Reggie yesterday, but I can message Reggie. Like Reggie and I
just did.
go way back.
He
Oh,
asked
you
me
missed.
for the link, but I was.
Oh, okay. Maybe Reggie is watching. Yeah, we can always get him on. But Reggie, we talked about you earlier, like 30 minutes ago. If you just rewind. All right.
hold on, tell Reggie to call me in my Telegram.
Oh
and I'll
God,
put him
everybody's
on
just name
speakerphone.
dropping. So for everyone who's watching, we know Reggie.
We all know Reggie.
Yeah, let's just do that. Let's get it over with.
All right. So anything more on NFTs? Like, I don't know, like to me, they're all freaking JPEGs, right? And I just don't see any technological.
Bring it. So for all of you out there that are thinking, what the hell good is an NFT? A non-fungible token is a non-divisible crypto asset based on whatever blockchain it is that records date, time, and transfer of ownership for that asset. If you want to know what that is,
Which I can do equally as well with an Excel spreadsheet as a Google Doc.
Isn't that Bitcoin? Sorry.
right. We don't need Bitcoin. We could record value in an Excel spreadsheet. Thanks for playing, Tom. And we're done. So if Bitcoin has value, an NFT has value, the same way that the value proposition of Bitcoin was that it also offered the ability for colored coins for transfer of title. To the extent that NFTs through artwork are the gateway drug for other municipalities, governments, etc., moving land records, vehicle records, things that require title off of printed paper and into a digital blockchain for records of ownership and transfer of title, proof,
Yeah, and I don't think that
etc.
I don't think that matters.
That is a potential value proposition.
He speaks the least. Let the girl speak.
Well, there's a challenge with that. I know that that's the whole idea behind the provenance and everything, but what happens if, you know, say this phone's an NFT, I have a record digitally, but I hand the phone to Tone. There's no way to record that. Like that can still happen. Transfers of the art that don't get recorded on the blockchain. So so if we were using it for car titles, or like people talk about using it for the home ownerships, like what happens if one gets stolen, then the, you know, if your home title gets stolen, but you have the home.
Rules and examples, but to say that there's no use case for NFTs is not correct.
Right.
I'll say what most people, I'll say what most people are thinking. I'm in the space. I've been in the space for a while. I still don't really grasp what the purpose of an NFT is outside of sending pictures to each other. It just doesn't make any more sense to me for a use case than I sent a pixelated picture of myself.
Except it's like a stock market for that, or, you know, I think what's going to probably happen in the music world too is, you know, each artist, or the same way that we saw in sports and things like that, people will get their, it's like almost like a social token to that artist or that player or that person, their reputations, their fans, everyone can kind of partake in it, but they don't get any money back.
The other day, I just went to buy Bon Jovi tickets. My wife wanted to go see Bon Jovi. He's coming to Florida in April. Okay, it was really me. Okay. It was really me. But needless to say, I can join. I had to join if I wanted to do the pre-sale, the Bon Jovi Bed of Roses Club. How is me paying $10 to join the club different than me paying $10 to buy his NFT? It's the same exact thing.
And that's why it's outside of a lot of the regulation, because it really does just act like a ticket, you know.
Like I just don't get the hype. You know, like we've had like the concept of an NFT, like a concert ticket is an NFT. It has a unique number on it. Like anytime you buy something, you get like a unique number. It stores in a company's database. Like, what's the difference?
Tone.
Well, it's
Do you,
really great way to
hold on. Do you
launder
have any?
money.
Do you have any cash on you?
Yeah.
Pull out that
No, we're
cash.
not doing social. We're not doing this.
Oh,
We're
God.
not doing the
Social
number.
experiment.
I mean, come on.
That $100 bill is an
Look at Tone with the
NFT.
money.
It has a unique identifier on it. What's the purpose of that dollar bill, Tone? I don't know. Right, you can take that $100 bill and roll it up to snort your cocaine later, all right? The point that I'm making, if I am trying to make a point, is that the original implementation of the concept of an NFT on whether or not it was an investment or not, or a security or not, came up with the rare Pepe function from years ago. And the same analysis still applies. There's nothing unique about an NFT that creates a brand new way to launder money. Laundering money still exists regardless of how you're doing it, whether you're doing it with that or anything else, it's there. Just like there's nothing unique about Bitcoin that allows crime to occur. Crime exists whether it's Bitcoin or with dollars, everything else. The people that actually take their artwork, put it into a digital medium and offer it for consumption in the digital medium, whether they use pottery or canvas or paper or leather or any other medium to present art, to the extent that it is allowed that there be digital art in a digital space and people are willing to pay money for it, I say, booyah, let people present their art and get fucking paid for it and stop calling it a scam. People have been scamming with art and making forgeries for years. There is nothing new about scams and art. To say that it's unique to an NFT has no bearing on it. For the people that are doing it legitimately and want to present their art in that medium, let them do it.
So we're gonna wrap it up, and I will close out the NFT topic on this. If you are building your NFT for the purposes of having an immutable record of transaction history of your NFT, it better be built on top of Bitcoin. Otherwise, it's nonsense. So by building it on top of Bitcoin, we can then have a legitimate argument and debate whether your NFT should be worth a penny or $1 million, right? But if it's not anchored into Bitcoin, it is equivalent to putting it in a spreadsheet. That's my take on the NFT. You agree with that? No. Okay. All right. On that note, we are going to wrap this up. We're going to let everyone say their goodbyes and show their products. I'm really hesitant of giving them the mic.
Okay, so I am going to do our live call-in listener. Our live call-in listener did have a legitimate question. The question I got was, I'm watching you on the Tone Vays show. Would you briefly mention how the litigation against Bitconnect is going? Okay. So the answer about Bitconnect was dismissed by the by the district court about 2 years ago. We did an appeal to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. The district court in Bitconnect decided that if someone invested based on someone's representation on YouTube, that was not a direct solicitation. So just like we've been
really,
yes. So just
holy
like
shit.
So just like we've
you know
been
how much
talking,
money I missed out on? So I can be like BitBoy and shill everything and everything.
Exactly. That's what the district court in that case ruled. And by the way, it's going to be overturned. So
right, because under 10b-5
there's airbag. So at the end of the day, the district court got it wrong.
Holy
the 11th
shit.
Circuit Court of Appeals, they're going to come back and smack it down. So we're still waiting. And by the way, the SEC charged everyone we sued. The SEC copied my lawsuit and charged everyone with the SEC, and they all pled guilty.
So what's going to happen to Craig Grant and Trayvon?
Trayvon went down. Craig Grant went down. Glenn Acaro was the big one. Glenn Acaro went down.
What does that mean went down? Like they seem to be keep doing what they're doing.
I just can't tell. People can do, there are lots of people who do, commit one crime and do another. Wolf of Wall Street's still out there pitching his goods, and he owes hundreds of millions in restitution probably. But that's the answer on Bitconnect. Anytime someone wants to text me during the show, we're happy to do a live call-in section. David Silver, Silver Miller. When you lose money, especially on sim swaps, find me, Google me. You can see me skinnier, fatter, depending on which video you're looking at.
Well, one broker returned everybody's money, guys. One broker. Remember that one when they went down? Reggie's calling in.
Reggie's calling me. Yeah.
Put Reggie on speaker.
Hey, Reg.
Good looking picture.
Reg.
Reggie. What's up?
Hey, Reggie, you're on speaker.
You're on speaker.
You're live.
You're live on the Bitcoin Law Review.
Say it again.
Where's the
You're
You are
live.
broadcasting live. You are now broadcasting live and everything that you say is going, but it doesn't matter because.
He's like, I'm going through a tunnel. I don't.
I need to call my attorney. Hold on.
Oh.
I'm waiting for him to call me.
I got 5 messages from 4 different sources telling me that y'all are trying to reach out to me. So where are y'all?
We're in North Miami.
Yeah,
right
if you
now.
go to my YouTube channel, Reggie, it's Tone. You're gonna see me holding up Adela's phone with the mic next to it. We're here in Miami. I didn't see you at the conference yesterday, but yeah, we talked about your DeFi patent earlier on the show, and I was
Favorably talked about your
yes,
patent
Yeah.
on the
and
show.
well, it depends on whether it applies to liquid sidechain or not. So I would love to get you on the show to discuss it in a little bit more detail one of these days.
Okay. Well, you're in Miami now? I'm sitting right here on Riverwalk.
Hold on a second. Let me
Yeah.
have the phone for a second.
Yeah. Your
Hey,
attorney
Reggie.
was talking.
So if you want to come over to the house where we're at, we will pause and announce to the world that you're happy to come on the air and discuss your patent and how it may impact the rest of the world. If you want to do that, I'll send you the address and then you can give me an ETA on when you'll be here and we'll let the viewers know when you'll be able to discuss that. If that's not something you want to do, you can say no, thank you, and we move on.
Also, if you play poker, Reggie, come by after 7 o'clock.
We're also playing poker tonight here as well.
Okay, so it depends on where it is. Where is it? Is it in
We're live on air.
Hold on, Reggie. We are broadcasting live on air right now.
Oh,
But
okay.
but
Okay,
the
that's what I was calling a phone number.
yes, no, Reggie, the location of where we are is approximately 7 miles north of where you are right now.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm about to leave here anyway, so I guess to stop by. Shoot me the address on
I will shoot you the address and we will let the viewers know of the Bitcoin Law Review that you may be coming by to give an exclusive interview about your patents that were awarded in Japan and the United States. Yes?
You guys sound like damn lawyers, man.
Right? All right, perfect. Okay, so I'll send you the address and we'll see you soon. All right, cheers. Bye.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. On that note, we are going to wrap it up. I can't believe it was legal to shill anything and everything on YouTube up to this point.
Hold on, Tone.
There's one federal court
Remember
judge
what we
said that.
Tone, let your viewers know that Reggie's going to be here in about 30
Oh,
minutes.
they know.
And stand
Well, could he
by
rely
for-
on that
for an
until, it
announcement
gets
of,
smacked down?
of,
Ugh.
Yes,
of the continuation
Oh. Dear.
of the Bitcoin.
Yeah, guys. When Reggie comes by, we'll try to do another one. I guess we're not making it to the conference today. Too bad, because that's some meetings that were kind of important. But anyway, I'll try to do those tomorrow. All right, guys. We are going to wrap it up. All right, now you can show your company.
Oh, I'm done chilling. That was David Silver Miller, Lose Money, Google me.
Adela Dells, to my friends. Jason and I have OPS, Ops, short for open source. We are down in the Caribbean, so take a sail down, come and hang out. We also have a crypto embassy down there. Crypto folks are welcome to stay with us unless you're launching your products from Ethereum, because then Tone will like to friend us. So peace.
No, she said everything that needs to be said.
I'll have links in the video description. All of their Twitter and stuff is in there, not necessarily their new consulting company. Oh, yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, if you need a crypto lawyer, check out Hodder Law Firm. Just opened today, so I'm pretty excited to start my own shop. Thanks.
And in closing, I just want to let you know that this is the Bitcoin Law Review brought to you by Carl's Jr.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. You will see in the video description, it says this is not legal advice. But it's a really fun show. We used to do it like every couple of weeks. It hasn't happened in a long time. If you are watching the Bitcoin Law Review for the first time, check out the playlist where we've been covering the legal side of crypto since 2017, I believe. And it started with Jason and I explaining why Ethereum was a security as far back as I think January 2017. And that was the birth of the show. And thank you all so much for watching. And I didn't even do, you know what? probably come on again. I mean, take a look at price. I haven't even seen the price all day. We are going to let everybody go. I'll take 5 minutes and take a look at the price of Bitcoin, only because I'm curious where the hell it's actually at. Is it a bad day today? It's probably a bad day today. Oh, no, Bitcoin rallied a bit. We're back up. We're back up about 42. So I always remember what I've said on these channels the other day. And what I said was, if Bitcoin goes below 41,500, it's potentially in trouble. But I also said that it needs to give me confidence that it will close below $41,500 on the 4-day candle. And because this candle still has over 2 days to go, the candle is not halfway done yet. It will be halfway done in 3 hours. But we are back above 42. So at the moment, on this second in time, I am not confident that we will close below 41.5. If I was confident we would close below 41.5 on current 4-day candle, I would cut this allocation back to 100% cash. But right now we are rallying, so I'm not cutting it to 100% cash. If we are sitting below 41.50 at this time tomorrow, I will then be somewhat confident that we'll close below that line at that point in time. Also, everyone here is likely to be at Unconfiscatable, so please join us in Las Vegas, March 3rd to 6th. We are practicing for our poker tournament by playing here tonight. Reggie almost got us to reveal the address, but then a bunch of people from might just show up, and though it wouldn't be that bad of a time if they did. Anyway, also the financial summit is taking place in the Dominican Republic. Let me look at the daily chart. The daily chart has the same exact problem. I do not believe this line will hold if we come back to it again. We are almost running out of time. We got 48 hours at most to get our ass off of 4,200. We really need Bitcoin to get above 44 in the next 2 to 3 days. If it can't, I will then have very little confidence that it's going to go up, and then we are probably going to take another big leg down. That's my current view on the price of Bitcoin. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's a really, really fun show, hanging out, talking to lawyers, which everyone will eventually need one day, unfortunately. In any case, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed. When Reggie comes by, we will try to do one more. And I think Jason wants to say something else. Let me stop the screen share.
Oh, and did they get to meet Smudge?
For a minute, yeah, Smudge. Smudge, come on.
Oops.
Come on. Let me cut. There he is. That's an amazing guard dog right here. Jeez.
Smudge.
I was watching video. What's the breed again?
She is a Belgian Malinois.
Belgian Malinois. Google them. Belgian Malinois. You're gonna watch videos. You're like, oh my god, that dog just ran up a tree in 3 seconds. It is insane.
Not only that, but special forces have special holsters where they jump out of airplanes with these dogs and they parachute into hostile territory with them. This is one of the most amazing breeds.
It'll go through a window to protect you. It's like they are. Yeah, I just.
That's a fuck around and find out.
Yeah, it really is. Like for me, it's either the dog that Leah had, a Rhodesian Ridgeback, or that. That's the kind of dog. These are the dogs I want in my house. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the show. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.